I was 5 years old, and I was dying. My mother found me on the floor of my bedroom at dawn, blue lips, eyes rolled back, my entire body convulsing. She had tucked me in that night before, just like every other night. She had kissed my forehead, she had whispered goodnight, and now she was screaming into a telephone, begging a stranger to hurry. It all started so innocently. A sore throat, an ear infection, 10 days of penicillin and rest. That's all it was supposed to be. But somewhere in those 10 days, bacteria traveled from my ear to my brain and everything changed. At the hospital, the doctors ran tests after tests. When they finally came to my parents with the answers, the news was devastating. Encephalitis, a virus in my brain spreading. If she survives, they said, quietly, she will likely have severe brain damage. She may never walk again. I was placed in a medically induced coma. My parents sat by my bedside, hour after hour, day after day. 4 days that must have felt like 4 lifetimes. On the 4th day, my father did the only thing he had left. He prayed. He closed his eyes and pictured the statue outside his old church in Greece, a statue said to weep. He poured every ounce of love he had into that prayer. He begged, he bargained, he surrendered. And when he finally opened his eyes, a single teardrop was rolling down my face. Moments later, I woke up. The doctors ran their tests again. No significant brain damage. They had no explanation. My father needed none, but the infection had left something behind, scar tissue, deep in my brain. And with it, a diagnosis that would follow me for the rest of my life, epilepsy. What came next wasn't a neat recovery story. It wasn't a montage of triumph set to an inspiring moment of music. It was hard, relentless, quietly, invisibly hard. It was being the kid who had seizures in class, watching classmates stare, pretending not to notice. It was finally getting my driver's license at the age of 18, feeling free for the first time in my life, and then losing it again after a seizure behind the wheel. It was dependent on everyone else's schedule just to leave my own house. For years, I wondered, is this all my life was going to be? And then something shifted. After years of searching, after countless medications, side effects, and sleepless nights, I discovered something extraordinary. Natural remedies, herbs, vitamins, ancient wisdom that modern medicine had overlooked. I threw myself into research, over 5 to 6 years of relentless study, and slowly, impossibly, my seizures began to fade. After years of epilepsy controlling my life, they stopped completely. I got my driver's license back, and then something even more powerful happened. I started writing, then speaking, then podcasting. I told my story, the real one, not the cleaned up version. And something extraordinary happened. People wrote back, hundreds of them from across the country and around the world. How's the weather outside? One letter stopped me completely. A stranger told me that my book had saved their life, that they had been on the edge, and my words had pulled them back. I read that letter many times, and I understood, finally, that every hard thing I had been through was not sent to break me. It was sent to build me into someone whose story could save lives. Today, my podcast reached millions of listeners. I've appeared on ABC, NBC, CBS, and 5 times on the Dr. Oz show. I've written 20 bestseller books. I've stood before Congress. I've won the New York City Podcast Award for Best Host. But none of that is the point. The point is this: whatever you are facing right now, whatever feels too large, too permanent, too unfair, I want you to know something. Your story is not over. The very thing trying to break you may be quietly building you for something far greater than you can actually see. I know that's easy to say. I know it's harder to believe when you're in the middle of it. I've been there. I've been on the floor, literally, wondering if I could ever rise, but I did. And if my story has taught me anything, it's this: the people who feel things most deeply who suffer most quietly often have the most powerful message the world needs to hear. Your voice matters. Your story matters. The world needs to hear it. This is part 1 of a 5-part series called From Seizures to Success: How Epilepsy Became My Greatest Teacher. Next week, I'm sharing the story of the colleague who literally stepped over my body during a seizure at work and what happened 30 minutes later. That one thing changed my life. If this video has resonated with you, please subscribe so you don't miss part 2. And if you know somebody who needs to hear this story today, share it with them. You never know whose life it might touch. And if you have your own story that deserves to be heard, I'd love to help you share it with the world. To book a free strategy call is in the description below. I'm Stacey Chillemi, and I'll see you next week.